Hello and welcome into another Purple Insider Extra. Matthew Coller here, along with Sam Ekstrom. A reminder to listen to our longer conversations on the Purple Insider podcast and check out our written work at purpleinsider.substack.com. And if you could, subscribe here to us on YouTube. Sam, the Minnesota Vikings have spent a great deal of their available cap space, and let me just check the ledger real quick. No offensive linemen. And I think that was one of the things that Vikings fans desperately wanted to see improved. My question for you is, how can the Vikings improve their offensive line? They've lost Riley Reef. They still have an open guard position. They've brought back Rashad Hill, but there's still questions on this offensive line. How do they solve it and make it better?
Yeah, that is question number one, I think, for Rick Spielman and company, because for the second straight offseason, they have cut a productive lineman and not taken meaningful steps to replace them. So I'm looking at the free agent list, and other than the big three, the Trent Williams, the Joe Thuney, the Corey Linsley, three whoppers of deals, tons of affordable linemen have gone off the market. Like Riley Reef ended up getting paid $7.5 million. Matt Filer, $7 million per year. Kevin Zeitler, $7.5 million per year. Even go down to someone like Ty Nsekhe, 1 year, $1.75 million. Extremely productive swing tackle. So there were bargains available on the market. Vikings chose not to pursue any of them. So what do they do going forward? I'm not going to say they've completely botched it yet, because I think there are some intriguing names remaining on the market that if they wait this out, they might still be able to land, because we're now into basically week 2 of free agency. I think the first wave is done. We're now getting into the secondary market. There might be bargains available. However, the Vikings don't really have space right now until they open up something with maybe a Harrison Smith extension, which hasn't happened yet. And the fact that it hasn't happened and has inhibited their ability to spend tells me that it might not be impending. It might be something that draws out or doesn't happen at all. So how are they going to create room to sign anybody before the draft? I mean, I don't even know if they have enough room to sign their draft class if it happened today. So there needs to be another move made, but it has to happen soon if you want to capitalize to get a name like a Trey Turner, or a Zach Fulton, who I kind of like, or a Lane Taylor. Rick Wagner is available. All these guys are kind of filtering down now. The money's drying up, but the Vikings need to open up some cap space.
And in years past, they've had very much hit or miss luck with trying to bring in guys that were either a trade target, like Nick Easton once upon a time, or someone like Joe Berger, who they bring in a career backup and eventually he turns into a starter. But that did not exactly work out with Dakota Dozier last year. And it's been very hit or miss. They have not spent a lot of draft capital on the guard position. Drew Samia is the highest drafted guard during the Mike Zimmer era for the Vikings. That was a 4th round pick. That didn't become a hit either. And if you're looking to the draft to try and fill this spot, I think you're taking a big risk. They might have to just go with the mass approach of trying to bring in multiple players on 1 year, $1 million deals who are maybe getting their first chance to start, and then draft someone in the 3rd round and hope that that player shows some ability right away. But it's hard to see a path to where this offensive line is significantly better than it was last year. Now, it probably can't get worse at left guard, considering Dakota Dozier was rated 60th out of 60 by Pro Football Focus. So just by having someone else in there, it's likely to improve. But I think that they need to take multiple different avenues for this. And one thing I would say is also that I can't hammer them for not signing some of those guys. While they were affordable, it would have been a lot of eggs in one basket of a guard too, and it would have precluded them from doing other things. Now, I think that they probably spent too much money on the defensive side on those first couple of days, but at the same time, not spending all that money on Joe Thuney. I mean, he signed a 5-year, $60 million deal. I think that would have been too rich for the Vikings.
80 million.
80 million.
Yeah. No, I think it's fine that they didn't spend all of it on one guy. But it's also not fine if they don't sign any veteran. Because if they don't sign any veteran and assume that a draft pick will solve the problem, just look at all the parts you now have. You've got year 3, Garrett Bradbury, who is promising, but you need him to take a step. You need Ezra Cleveland to take a step. You need Rashad Hill to play well in a bigger role, and you would need your draft pick to like be able to contribute right away. That's a lot of ifs. You're counting on progression from like 80% of your offensive line, and then Brian O'Neill needs to stay the same. But there aren't a lot of sure things there. At least you ensure some sort of baseline play if you bring in a veteran to compete, or at least provide depth. Because as of today, there's no Brett Jones on the roster. There's no Dakota Dozier on the roster. So you don't really have those depth pieces for insurance either. And I think that's a concern.
That should definitely be a concern. And you bring up Garrett Bradbury. I would like to see Garrett Bradbury have consistent right and left guards for once, but it doesn't look like we're going to get that. I mean, his rookie year, he ends up with Josh Klein. Josh Klein gets cut in the offseason. We haven't seen him since, so it's hard to say exactly why. Maybe injuries ended his career. We've never heard anything from Josh Klein, but they need a Josh Klein-like player, a veteran who has proven elsewhere that even if they're not perfect and they're not going to be a huge game changer, they're still going to be a quality veteran player who can help Garrett Bradbury along and not make him feel like he's handling the entire interior of the defensive line all at once. I think that there is a domino effect to playing some of the guys that they have who have been either inexperienced starters like Ezra Cleveland or like Dakota Dozier, who is a career backup, or guys who just simply can't handle their job. I think that those things also affect the Vikings first round center. So we'll have to see the way that they go, Sam, to try and fill out this offensive line. There still are free agents remaining, and they're going to have to get lucky and grab one that works. And I think this also sets up for a very interesting NFL draft. So this has been another Purple Insider Extra. Again, make sure you listen to the longer conversations wherever you find your podcast. Just type in Purple Insider, and we'll catch you next time.